Imagine an army so feared that entire nations surrendered at just the sound of their march. The Spartans' warriors bred from birth, trained to never retreat, never surrender. For centuries, they ruled the battlefield with their legendary phalanx, an unbreakable wall of shields and spears. But then, one summer in 371 BC, that invincible wall finally cracked. And the weapon that destroyed it wasn't a catapult, wasn't fire, and wasn't even a god. It was a strategy born from the mind of one man who dared to challenge the impossible. Then, this is the story of how Thebes, a city no one believed in, humiliated Sparta and changed the art of warfare forever. Welcome to the Battle of Leuctra, where genius defeated tradition. For over 200 years, Sparta had reigned supreme across Greece. Their soldiers were feared like monsters in human form. Each boy trained from age 7 in the agoge, molded into a weapon. The Spartan Phalanx, rows of hoplites standing shoulder to shoulder, shields locked, spears pointed forward, was considered unbreakable. They had crushed Athens, humbled Persia, and ruled Greece with discipline and fear. No army dared to face them head-on. Until a new power began to rise: Thebes, a city once enslaved by Sparta, now burning with vengeance. Among the Thebans was a philosopher warrior named Epaminondas. He wasn't a brute, he wasn't obsessed with glory. He believed in intellect over intimidation. To him, war was like chess, and every Spartan was just a pawn waiting to be outplayed. While Sparta focused on brute strength, Epaminondas studied tactics, how men move, how formations breathe, how fear spreads through ranks. He believed that even the strongest army had a weak point. You just had to find it. So when war became inevitable, he began to shape his army not to match the Spartans, but to outthink them. Epaminondas' secret weapon wasn't a machine, it was a formation. He called it the oblique phalanx, a revolutionary idea that flipped the old rules of war upside down. Instead of forming a straight line across the field like everyone else, he stacked his best soldiers 50 men deep on the left wing of his army. At the front stood the sacred band, 300 elite warriors, bound not by rank, but by love and loyalty to each other. His plan was simple but insane. Rather than fighting the whole Spartan army, he would smash through just one side where their king, Cleombrotus I, commanded and caused chaos from within. The risk? If the rest of his line collapsed before his left wing broke through, Thebes would be destroyed. But Epaminondas believed one decisive strike could shatter the myth of Spartan invincibility forever. It was July 371 BC. The plains of Leuctra were dry, dusty, and silent. On one side, Sparta, confident, disciplined, led by King Cleombrotus. On the other, Thebes, outnumbered, nervous, but guided by genius. As dawn broke, the Spartans advanced in their traditional line. The Thebans did something shocking. They didn't align evenly. Instead, Epaminondas pushed his left wing far forward, aiming straight at the Spartan right. The Spartan king laughed. To him, it looked like amateurish chaos. But then the Theban left wing moved a living wall, 50 shields deep, marching with terrifying precision. The air filled with the sound of metal and war cries. The sacred band smashed into the Spartan elite with unstoppable force. The Spartan phalanx began to bend. Cleombrotus fought bravely, but was struck down a spear piercing his chest. When the Spartan king fell, confusion spread like fire. The unthinkable happened. The Spartan right collapsed. Their unbeatable formation was broken. When the dust settled, thousands of Spartan soldiers lay dead, including their king. The Thebans, against all odds, stood victorious. It was the first time in history that Sparta had been decisively defeated in open battle. And it shattered the myth that they were unbeatable. News spread like wildfire through Greece. The Spartans have fallen. Within years, their power crumbled, their dominance ended. Thebes, for a brief shining moment, became the new power of Greece. Epaminondas' tactics. The oblique phalanx were studied for centuries. Even Alexander the Great would later adapt and refine them in his conquests. The Battle of Leuctra wasn't just a fight between armies, it was a battle between ideas. Brute strength versus strategy, tradition versus innovation. Epaminondas proved that even the mightiest force can fall to intelligence, courage, and imagination. The secret weapon wasn't steel or numbers, it was the mind of a genius. If you love this story of how one man outsmarted the greatest warriors in history, make sure to hit that subscribe button because more forgotten stories of ancient brilliance are coming your way. This is history reimagined, where the past isn't just told, it's brought back to life.